Hey everybody, it's Cass and Court TV. It's your girl, Miss Public Info, here with the latest and greatest and sometimes hated updates of the most high-profile cases going on around the country. Today, we're going to talk about Cardi B and her assault trial, and I'm going to add a little snippet about Drake. I'm going to start with the Drake situation first. Now, this is really not anything that's proven because I don't have any court docs to back this up with. This right now is sort of just whispers in the room. There is a blogger there in Canada who has been talking about the Drake uh, family court situation or family court date that he had. I believe it was yesterday there in Toronto. Now, this blogger talks about how Drake was and his son's mother, Sophia, how they were both in court for this hearing that very few people know a whole lot about. It's not really known exactly what is happening with this, with the exception that David Wall, who is the blogger, I'm not going to post um, his site or anything like that. I'm going to read from something that I have here on my phone, down my notes here. The reason I'm not going to speak from his site is because this, to me, it's third party and there's no court documents to back it up. But I want to acknowledge it in case later on there's official word on it. Now, back in March, there was other whisperings that Drake had made a court appearance with about a family court appearance about his son Adonis at that time as well. Sophia allegedly was there at that family court appearance as well. Now, this has to do with the fact that Drake allegedly has been taking Adonis without Sophia's permission out of the country. He's been taking him on trips without her permission. This blogger, David Wall, he alleges that he was in the courtroom when all of this went down. He's also alleging that Sophia made the proclamation that she cannot find a job and that her biggest concern is that Drake is taking Adonis out of the country without express permission prior to. David Wall also makes assertions that Drake during this time would leave the building on breaks, presumably for lunch, and that he would fully ignore Sophia during this time. Sophie, I keep saying Sophia, her name is Sophie, would fully ignore Sophie during this time. She had nowhere to go, allegedly, and could only sit in the hall until court was back in session. So there is no real word as to what actually became of this or what the resolution was or what the court's decision was. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because this may become a legitimate topic later on, and I just wanted to sort of mention it at the top of this episode as a snippet of info that we here at Casting Court TV did receive. We did see the info. There's a lot of swirlings about what this court date means, what's actually happening in the courtroom. But really, to be honest, no one really knows. They're being very covert about it. And again, this is the second court appearance that Sophie and Drake have had as it relates to Adonis in the last 7 to 8 months, the last time being in March of this year. So there are some people talking about it. So you'll see a lot of Twitter, uh, or excuse me, X, X tweets. There are, other YouTubers sort of talking about it, but no one really has any official information about this, except for the fact that Sophie and Drake are in family court. And listen, this is not very uncommon for people who share children with other folks who co-parent. This just so happens to be a situation where, he is a very famous person and therefore, people, when they see him in the courthouse, it's going to matter. Oh, I think that's right. You know what I mean? Like it's going to matter. It's there in Toronto. It's his hometown. People know, who he is on site anywhere. So it's going to matter for anyone else, or maybe a less notable or even a less noticeable celebrity. It may not matter, but because it is Drake, anything he does, everyone is going to notice. So we'll keep our eyes on this to see if there is any full legitimacy to this family court appearance here that happened yesterday. And we will, of course, report back anything that we can that we know has been confirmed. But right now, this is all alleged. So we just wanted to bring that to the forefront in case folks were wondering about it, since it is a family court situation. Okay, let's talk about Cardi B, because this was, a case you guys may be hearing about the Cardi B case right now, and about this this assault that she actually participated in, or is alleged to have participated in, back in February of 2018. This involved Cardi B and a security guard, a woman security guard that she allegedly attacked. Now, the woman security guard, she filed a lawsuit against Cardi B. Now, this happened back in 2018. Of course, Cardi B at that time was with child, I think with her oldest daughter at that time. And she was on her way to a scheduled doctor's appointment, her OB appointment there in Beverly Hills. She was about 4 months pregnant with her first child, and she was at that time keeping the news of her pregnancy private, and she was trying to keep it out of the tabloids. Now, Cardi B, whose real name, her government name is Bacalus Marlenis Alamanzar, is accused of assault and battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligence, and false imprisonment in the lawsuit that stems from this 2018 incident. Now, the woman that is filing the lawsuit, the security guard, is Amani Ellis. She claimed that, she filed the lawsuit back in 2020, even though the situation happened back in 2018. She claimed that Cardi B, Bacalus, attacked her unprovoked during the OB appointment. In her suit, she says that Cardi B violently, unlawfully, and intentionally, suddenly, and maliciously hit her head, face, and body, leaving her with physical and emotional damages. She also claims that Cardi B spat on her and used multiple profanities as well as racial slurs. She says that Cardi B's security guard, identified as Doe 1 in the lawsuit, is also accused of attacking her. Now, we're told that Amani Ellis, the former security guard, was a fan of Cardi B's, and apparently upon seeing her sort of, yelled, "Hey, Cardi," was happy to see her and excited and all of that. Now, of course, you guys know I have been a publicist in TV and film for the last 15 years. And so I know and plus I'm from Los Angeles. So I know the Beverly Hills, Los Angeles situation all too well. I also know the entertainment situation all too well, and have been with clients and have been on projects and films and everything when I have been with a notable celebrity, and there will be staff around and people will, yell and say, "Hey, so and so," even though they're supposed to be at work. Now, it's always been my practice that me personally, that I don't do the fangirling at all. But if I'm going to, fangirl, I certainly don't do that at work. I think the only person I was ever really excited to really see and be around at work was Sam Jackson, who I've worked with many times on many film sets at this point. But there's really been no one else, because when you've been in this industry, or you're in a in a job where you see celebrities all the time, which security here in Los Angeles, especially Beverly Hills area, they see these celebrities all the time because they're coming in and out of the office buildings. They're coming in and out of doctor's appointments or lawyers' offices or whatever, shopping or whatever it might be. They see them a lot. And so some of them even know them. The celebrities, some of them, they even know the security by name. That's how often they see them because of their proximity to them. So it's always been my practice personally that I don't ever, do the fangirl thing at work. And I think Miss Ellis misstepped in that regard in terms of, professionalism. Like you have to stay professional. If you're going to be doing a job, any kind of job, and especially when you are coming across people of note. Now, some celebrities don't mind, but some do. Or some will just give you a look like, and keep it moving. You know what I mean? You just like, okay, I know not to mess with that person. You know what I mean? Like they just want their private time, but you just don't know. And so she apparently didn't use that same discretion and she went and, yelled for her or whatever. Now, this situation apparently was also recorded. Now, Miss Ellis says in her lawsuit, she's accusing rather, Miss Almanzar in the lawsuit of working with unnamed people to have recorded footage of the to have all of the recorded footage of the incident erased. So she's accusing Cardi B of pulling a Diddy, if you will, of working with people there in maybe the office buildings, the security company, of having footage of the attack erased so she couldn't use it in future lawsuits or anything like that. Now, in the filing responding to the lawsuit, Cardi B claimed that Ellis was on her personal phone and loudly announced she had just seen her and appeared to be trying to record video of her. Cardi B also said that she asked Ellis not to say anything to anyone, but rather than take steps to de-escalate the situation, that Miss Ellis aggressively approached Cardi B and engaged her in a profanity laced screaming match, is what Cardi B is saying. So Cardi B is saying, listen, I let her know upon her, finding out that it was me, that, I didn't want her to say anything about me being here, but instead she just went completely OFF off on me and started, hurling profanities at me. And she's also asserting that Miss Ellis also was recording video. Now, I don't doubt that because, the woman was a fan. She had her phone in her hand. This happens all the time. I've seen this happen live and in living color, working in the areas that I've worked with in entertainment. I know that this happens. People will be outside. They'll be like people who are doormen, people are security people, and they'll be outside of a hotel or whatever, and they see somebody coming, they'll automatically get their phone, record it, all of that. That is absolutely not unbelievable. Cardi B's attorneys maintained that there was no physical contact between the two women during the incident, which they estimate to have lasted between somewhere 60 and 90 seconds. Now, because Miss Ellis is claiming that the Cardi B is working with someone to have the footage erased, I'm gathering that there is no physical evidence that shows that this actually happened. So there must be some kind of witnesses or someone to say, they witnessed something, or else there would not be a plausible trial. Now, Ellis, she is seeking medical expenses, damages for loss of past and future earnings, punitive damages, and a civil penalty of $25K. Pretrial filings indicate that Cardi B intends to testify at the trial. And of course, now we know that this is not Cardi's first run-in with, with a public, spat. She's known for being a hothead. She's known for being very, mouthy or assertive, I should say. She's known for defending herself on social media for sure, but she's also known for being extremely protective of herself when she's out and about, just, around the way. So it wouldn't be far-fetched to believe that she got into a verbal fight with someone, and there were profanities and racial slurs, you know, shouted out, because Cardi B, in fairness, has been on Twitter when it was Twitter, Instagram, whatever. And she has, been very vocal about racial slurs. This has been a huge controversy. Cardi B is of Dominican descent, and people have criticized her because she is of Dominican descent, and they feel as though she doesn't have the right to say some of the racial slurs that she has said in the past, including the N word, because they feel like, well, if you don't think that you are a Black person, then you have no ownership of the word, and you should not be saying that word. Though her soon to be ex-husband, her children's father, Offset, is a Black American man. She is not, and people have not allowed her to get away with that. It's been very much a topic of controversy on social platforms about her use of the N word and other uh, terms that were racially motivated. And of course, there's been a big discussion about, well, she's of Dominican descent, or she's a Trinidadian descent. So she is Black or she's not Black. So everybody has had a lot of opinions on the Cardi B ethnicity, her heritage, and her spouting out certain racial slurs. So this woman here is claiming that she did just that during this situation, and because we've seen that before, I'm saying it wouldn't be far-fetched or hard to believe that she did once she was in a heated argument with someone. Now, we remember that Cardi B was previously accused of throwing a microphone at a fan during a performance in Las Vegas, but she did not face charges for that incident. But again, this is just more, mounting evidence about Cardi B's very high-tempered personality, and her propensity to really sort of, engage with people with aggression when she is upset about something, right? Now, yesterday was the first day of the trial. I'll give you a little bit of a play-by-play as to what went down. Now, yesterday was the opening statements for both the plaintiff and the defense delivered their opening statements. Miss Amani Ellis's attorney delivered and then argued that Miss Ellis was hurt by Cardi B, experienced trauma, that she deserves respect. He made a case for emotional distress, damages, and suggested that emotional distress doctors should be allowed to testify if it were relevant. Cardi B's defense attorneys delivered an opening statement as well, and they challenged the emotional distress attributable to the incident. They're saying, yeah, well, if she has emotional distress, it has nothing to do with this incident here. They pointed to Imani Ellis's alleged damaging admissions, saying that Cardi B called her all these names, that she hit her, and things of that nature. They questioned the authenticity and the disclosure of the records and the witnesses, I guess, that Miss Ellis and her attorneys plan to put on the stand. They presented Cardi B as a loving, private, and unjustly accused. So a loving parent, very private, and being unjustly accused of this situation. Now, the security guard, Miss Ellis, she did take the stand yesterday. She was the first witness to take the stand. She said that she had been a Cardi B fan prior to the incident. She even had tickets to one of the concerts, but she did not attend after this encounter because of the trauma associated with it. She claimed that Cardi B, she said that when she was doing her security rounds, when she was doing her security rounds on February 24th of 2018, when she saw Cardi B exit an elevator, she said, "Wow, Cardi B," out loud due to the excitement of seeing her. She claimed that after she said that Cardi B turned around and allegedly said, Why the F are you telling people you seen me? And then accused Amani Ellis of spreading news about her presence, about being there in that elevator or being in the building itself. Ellis said that she tried to reassure Cardi that she wasn't telling anyone, but that Cardi B allegedly persisted and put her finger in Ellis's face and used profanity and insults. Now, how I understand this whole melee to go was that Cardi B pointed at Ellis with, she has those long stiletto fingernails, and she actually scraped her face as she, did that. And that it resulted in a scratch on her face. She says that she also used profanity and insults, and then she went on to describe Cardi B's fingernails as 2 to 3 inches long that day. So the patent Cardi B stiletto nails, of course. She said that Cardi B cursed at her, used the N word and other slurs. She called her names, threatened her job, and then she went on to body shame her and then mocked her career. She alleged that Cardi B spat on her, took a swing at her, and then scratched again, as I stated just a few minutes ago, scratched her left cheek with that stiletto fingernail. She said that the incident was traumatizing and that Cardi B never apologized. She just went on about her business. And at the time, she did not intend to sue. And she said she didn't immediately take photographs of her injury due to the emotional distress. She said that her career path has changed after this. She's become a social worker. She has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And instead of going forward in criminal justice, after this incident with Cardi B, she decided to change her career trajectory to social work. She wanted to help low-income families. She said that she suffers from anxiety, depression, insomnia, and PTSD as a result of the incident. She's already sought psychological treatment after this incident. She also goes on to talk about the physical damage. She says that previously she had no scar on her left cheek after but before the incident. But then after the incident, she had to seek treatment and advice from doctors. She even had to consult a plastic surgeon. Now, that was what she said on the stand with her attorney examining her. On the cross, the defense challenged Ellis's recollection and the consistency of her recollection of events. They questioned if Ellis was on her phone, if she was recording on her phone, and if she was recording Cardi B. Ellis denied that. They went and also pointed out discrepancy. They said that Ellis said that the scratch was on her cheek, but referred to her nose in incident reports and emails. So these are the inconsistencies. So apparently she's saying here on the stand, okay, it was a cheek thing, but then if we go into the reports and the emails subsequent to the incident, she says it was her nose. Now, they also pressed Ellis about not using a Band-Aid, taking a nap after the incident, and her lack of initial photographic evidence. Why didn't you take it if it was so traumatic, if the scratch was so large, if you had to see a plastic surgeon to the point where, it was so dramatic or traumatic? Why didn't you then take photographs of this? The defense also brought up prior car incidents from 2021 and 2023, previous psychological treatment and workers' comp filings that Miss Ellis has apparently filed in the past. Now I'm going to stop there because I'm going to talk about that a little bit, because I've talked about some of these civil suits and the discovery phase of this, and I've talked about this when I did the episode on Shannon Sharp. Now, during the discovery phase, what they do is they actually depot, which is a deposition of, it could be the defense or the plaintiff's attorneys. They usually depot to find out what the person knows. And so they have apparently done a deposition in this particular case prior to this case going to trial, because that's what Cardi B's attorneys are referring to when they say reports and emails. They're talking about things that she probably said during the deposition. Now, one thing I told you guys is that during these depositions, the people are very nervous about depositions because, first of all, they can take hours, they can take days even. And also, these depositions really get in your business. And we see proof of this in this cross examination from Cardi B's attorney to Miss Ellis. Because what did they bring up? They brought up prior car accidents prior to the situation, or actually prior to today's trial. They brought up car accidents from 2021 and 2023. They also brought up previous psychological treatment, likely prior to the incident that she had with Cardi B. And then they're also bringing up workers' comp filings that she may have filed subsequent to this particular situation, because this she may have considered this a work hazard situation since this happened while she was at work. So these are probably things that they're bringing up. Cardi B's attorneys are bringing up. They're bringing this up probably as a result of information that they got gathered from the deposition. And this is the reason people are afraid of depositions, because they're afraid of being put on the hot seat during trial, this sort of thing coming back up and having to combat that. Okay. Now, they go on and they asked her about the absence of immediate medical reports showing scratches or blows to the head or the face. Only the medical reports, what she did subsequent to the incident, only appeared later in context of the lawsuit. She never sought medical treatment like the following day, or had to take off work, for the rest of the day to go to the doctor because of this scratch that she says she received, cheek, nose, or wherever. She never had to do that, they said. Now, Ellis, in response to that, she said that she apologized to the employer after being fired, but then got a better paying job. So apparently she was canned as a result of this incident with the Cardi B situation, and then apologized to the employer after she was canned, but then she ended up getting a better paying job. This matters because she is suing for damages, basically saying that, well, because Cardi B did this, I ended up, losing my job, losing my livelihood. So the defense is bringing this up to say, well, did you or did you not end up getting a better paying job? Well, yeah, I did. Well, did you or did you not apologize to your employer after being fired? Well, yeah, I did. Well, then what are you talking about? She caused this situation for you. Not only were you fired, but also you apologized to them. You took blame. So what's up? Why would you do that? And then if you're not at fault, why would you apologize for something that like that? And then if you did apologize, why are you now trying to seek damages, saying that this whole situation is the fault of Cardi B's? So that's what Cardi B's attorney is basically attempting to argue there. Now, the defense, and very important, they had also attempted to impeach Ellis using emails and prior deposition testimony regarding the sequence of events, meaning the spitting versus the intervention, the nose to cheek confusion, all of that. So they tried to impeach her, meaning they tried to basically say she's lying about these events. She's lied here on the stand, basically because we have the deposition or other reports where she's saying something else happened. Now, jurors have been asked about the presence of cameras. The jury asked about the presence of cameras. Ellis said there were none in the elevator. Basically, the jury wants to know, well, where is the history on the footage? Like, where's the proof? Where can we see the footage? What's up with it? And Amani Ellis claims that there were no cameras on the elevators, and that the timing, there were no cameras. So there are no cameras at the elevators, and timing of the injuries and the car accidents. There also was no footage there. Now, we all know that cameras exist in the elevators strictly because we just know there are, but also we know because of the situation that happened with one Solange Knowles and, Sean Carter in an elevator infamously at the Met Gala. So we know that there are cameras on these elevators for sure. So that was day one of testimony. They're into it with day two now. I will come back tomorrow with a trial update. I'll give you daily trial updates on this situation as long as this trial is continuing on. But it seems that this is going to be quite a interesting trial. It already is. I think that the most interesting part will come with Cardi B taking the stand and what she has to say. Listen, I have no dog in this fight, but what I will say is this. The defense, I'm sorry, the plaintiff's story seems a little bit shaky just because there are issues with inconsistency and issues with continuity with her story. There's issues with the fact that she is, saying first that she scratched her nose, then it's her cheek. There's issues with the fact that there's no footage. There's also issues with the fact that she, didn't seek medical attention right after because this is just an issue. You know what I mean? This is an issue with that. But that said, there's also issues on the Cardi B front as it relates to the history that Cardi B has had in the past on socials with other people out, not only just on social, but in person, that she's had physical altercations that she's had with people, the accusations that have come up with her before she became who she is, Cardi B, with her supposedly drugging men when she was a stripper and all of that. Those things are going to come up in this trial. That is something that this woman, Amani Ellis's team, is going to talk about, just like the defense, Cardi B's team, got into this woman's past. Her team will also get into Cardi B's past. They will also bring that up. They're also going to bring up stuff about her getting into it in public spats with other celebrities, female celebrities. They're also going to get into this racial slur thing. This is going to come up because it's controversial. It's come up in actual real life that she's been involved in saying things that she shouldn't be saying. And so remember that in a civil trial, the preponderance of the evidence is 50%. I only have to prove that this happened by 50%. This is not the same as a criminal trial where it's beyond a reasonable doubt. It's very different. So if it's likely that Cardi B got into a screaming match with this person, called this woman profanities, it only has to be likely. Now, the physical part, if she doesn't have any sort of concrete evidence about her physical injuries, we're not going to even get to 50% on this. You know what I mean? So that's going to be a little bit different. But as it relates to the spitting, the profanities, the racial slurs, and all of that, that will be a little less harder to prove for Miss Ellis's side. And we'll be tuned into this, and Casting Court TV will be on top of this. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll get with you tomorrow. More updates, more interesting cases, and we'll see you soon. Stay out of trouble, guys, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Peace.